James.
Last week, Alex, it looked like that you guys really got after the ball. Your message this week, though, I'm curious, will it be most of the same? We've got to have this again. It's a big game. Hey, I need the 4 quarters again, and we've got to always have that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 60-minute football game. There's so many examples out there, whether NFL or college, where if you don't play a full 60. Watching a game last night and some other games over the course of the weekend. I mean, so hopefully some of those were a team maybe fan at home says they're about to win a game. Well, as a player and a coach, it's thumbs up or thumbs down after 60 minutes. You don't get a chance to have those evaluations. So obviously this last week was a little bit different and unique that way. That doesn't happen every weekend. But no, the message is the message. 60 minutes. You can't. It's hard to be average if you don't finish. It's impossible to be good, and even less of a chance to be anything above that. If you're not playing a full 4 quarters. And too many of these guys have been with us for a number of years. And so we got to make sure that that doesn't make it easy. The other team gets a vote. They're trying to play. It turns out they're trying to play 60 minutes also. So, but that's got to be our mindset going into it.
Yeah, Alex, we just talked about Lincoln, and we talked about the importance of getting pressure up the middle from your interior defensive line, especially against a quarterback who can move a little bit. How important is that this week against Nebraska, and how big a piece of that is Perrion and what the growth that he's shown?
Sure, and you're talking about an offense averaging over 500 yards a game, so quality that way. Obviously, a mobile quarterback that makes some of those things so difficult. What initially can feel like a plus play defensively can very quickly turn to a negative. So. Being sound in our rush lanes, obviously, part of that from a coverage standpoint to give yourself a chance for those guys on the interior to have an impact. But certainly we have high expectations for those guys, and that includes both in the run game and in the pass game. It's not okay to be blocked, and I think once you fall into that trap, and you can always play that card and say, well, coach, he blocked me. Now we're playing with 10, or I'll just hold a gap. That's not how we play defense here. We're unaccepting of those particular snaps, and so for those guys, both inside and out, we talk about playing in the gaps. We got to do just that. And if you encounter contact, now it's the physical. Now you got to out physical your opponent. And so, no, we expect a lot from Perrion. We expect a lot from Josh Ellison. Expect a lot from Jalen Redmond. I think it's been okay through 2 games, but that's got to get a lot better. With those guys.
What specifically, just a quick follow-up, what specifically did you see growth-wise out of Perrion, maybe from week 1 to week 2? Obviously the opponent.
No, just playing fast. I mean, regardless of opponent. I mean, I think again, if you're looking at specifically on the interior, if you're not careful, you can get into the mosh pit. You can kind of mash at the line of scrimmage, and like I said, be okay to simply be blocked and say, well, he got me. And so just seeing an unwillingness to allow those snaps to happen. We say at minimum we want to be 3 yards in the backfield. Now, is that coach speak? Is that easier said than done? Of course. Again, he's conspiring against you across from you, but that's got to be the mindset, and we can't be okay just to be stagnant. If that's the style of play, then we should get 350-pound linemen. Be holding gaps, right? And that's not what we do. And so it's important for our guys in our defensive front not to turn themselves into something that they're not. They're here for a reason, and that athleticism. So saw some of that last Saturday.
Ryan Jones. Hey, Alex, with Woody's injury status, what have you seen out of Latrell now that you've had 2 games of film to come digest him? Obviously comfortable enough to give the start last week, but just how's he coming along and your confidence of him sliding in there again? Yeah,
just a young player that's developing, like so many of those young guys, this early in their career. I mean, our expectation for him is to have an impact. Is it going to be in a starting role? That's always decided each week. There's been several freshmen, over the course of time that you don't even talk about being a possible starter for you, let alone going to second game or third game of their freshman year. And so in so many ways, kind of ahead of schedule maybe that way. But that only lasts so long, right? If you're going to play that many snaps for us, or a guy that we're dependent on now, we need to see the level of production. And that's I think, across the corner room, the level of production's got to go up for those guys. But excited about him as a young player. And in so many cases with the freshmen, we keep telling you, prove us right. We're the ones that brought, it turns out we invited you here for a reason. So prove us right, don't prove us wrong. However grumpy we can get at you during the course of practice. But now we're excited about the trail.
Alex, going back to Perrion, was there a point of emphasis after you watched what he did in 2020 as to what you knew, like, this is what he really needed to work on? Or was it just an overall factor?
I mean, I think in all cases it's overall, but I mean, I think, and this is more outcome, but being more productive, not being so content with just simply being disruptive, getting in the backfield and actually, making plays. And part of that is playing lower. Some of the issues last fall in terms of the inability to get a guy on the ground was just simply that, being too high as you approach ball carriers in the backfield. Those things happen so fast. Oftentimes for those interior guys, the ball, once you're in the backfield, if you're 3 yards deep in the backfield, ideally, well, guess what? That backs right up on you, and you got to be able to fire the gun, go low, and secure a tackle very quickly. And same thing goes for a quarterback. And so I think that would be the biggest thing: playing low, playing fast, using his hands, and with all those guys inside, is just you got to be a fast kid. Be a fast kid. You're here for your ability to move, your quickness. Obviously, we got the physical element as well, but no, those are the chief things.
Jenny Carlson.
Alex, through a couple of games, how do you feel your linebackers are playing right now as a collective?
Yeah, I think, a little bit like you look at last weekend, it's kind of hard to evaluate some of that stuff because you played so many guys, which is awesome. We played 31 guys week one, I think 38 to 40. Don't quote me, this past weekend. And so that's a large sampling of people, which means a very small sample size for each individual. No, I think, just with the experience at the position, we have high expectations for them as well, high expectations for the interior defense. Any time a guy's a returning player, we expect to be a different dude than you were the year before, so thus far, I don't see a different Brian Osimo. I don't see a different David Awebu. I don't see a different Deshaun White, and that's a challenge to them. And I haven't seen a different Pat Fields. I haven't seen a different Perrion Winfrey, in my opinion. I haven't seen a different Isaiah Thomas, and so that bar's got to go up, and it's our job as coaches to get them there. It doesn't mean it's bad, but what's the standard? And so I think we've seen better football from them. And at its base, okay, it's as good as it was last year. Okay, we had 8 months to prepare for those first two games. It should be better than it was last year. And so, again, that's across the board, but we expect more from that group.
So linebackers specifically, because you have played a bunch of guys, I know
Yeah.
we haven't seen the actual probably rotation yet, but is that a group that you could see 8 guys playing, 6? What's a good number?
Yeah, you like to play at least 4. So you got a good rotation. If you played 70, 80, 90 play ball game, no one's playing over 50 snaps. Again, that's a general term. When K9 was here, you don't want him playing 90 snaps just from a fatigue standpoint. But he's going to play 89 if he had to. But with across the board, so we're around 4 to 5. Could it be more than that? I think it could. Based on health and how guys practice, you like to be in that range.
John Hoover. Alex, with maybe the level of athlete you saw last week and the depth as well, the total number of athletes you saw last week stepping up to what Nebraska brings you this week, is that a challenge in itself, just the quality of athlete that you're going to face this week?
Yeah, I think, you go through spring football, fall camp, you like to say we've been playing a pretty high level athlete on a day in and day out basis against our offense. So, I'd be very disappointed if there was a shock and awe from that standpoint. But certainly we're not confused as to what this Saturday versus last Saturday is. We don't play in the Southern Conference, and that's no lack of respect for that group. This is a major test this weekend. The speed, that tackle that you made by the skin of your teeth isn't going to be a missed tackle this weekend. That's fact, right? And close is not going to cut it. That 10-yard gain is going to turn into a 20-yard gain. And some of those mistakes that maybe you don't really see because it didn't, you see it on film, believe me, but in the moment, because it didn't hurt you, they're going to make you pay for it this weekend. So, no, the level cranks up, which is exciting, and a major challenge for us.
With Woody Washington gets doubtful, who steps in his spot, and then how comfortable this are you?
Yeah, it'll be interesting as we go through the week. I mean, we just haven't had a lot of production in the cornerback room these first 2 weeks, again, for a number of reasons. I was disappointed week one in the lack of competitiveness at the catch point. Ball's going to be in the air and all those things. It doesn't mean they're never going to catch a ball on you. But man, they better be fighting for that football a larger percentage of time. Didn't get a whole lot thrown out their way this past Saturday. So I bring that up simply just from a game rep standpoint, that you're 2 games in, but I don't know that we got a true barometer and saying, okay, well, this is how this guy's playing on Saturdays, whether it's a Josh Eaton or a DJ Graham. I mentioned DJ. He played last year. We expect a different DJ Graham. I'm not seeing a different DJ Graham just yet. I think he has the ability to be better. Jaden Davis has played a lot of football again. I don't want to see Jaden Davis from 2020. I want to see 2021's version. And so far, they're too similar. But those are the names, right? Josh Eaton, Jaden Davis, DJ, and then we'll continue. Obviously, Latrell that we talked about earlier.
Cliff Brown.
Coach, Smorey Toure, the transfer from Montana, 350 yards receiving in 3 games, 2 long touchdowns last week. What concerns you most about trying to keep him covered?
Yeah, just I see speed on the perimeter, across the board, and explosive in the pass game. And obviously, some of those are plays where the quarterback's outside the pocket, the play gets extended. So, now you're covering not for the initial 1-click, 2-click, 10, 15 yards downfield. Now all of a sudden it's extended 25, 30, 40 or more as you go down there. And so just holding up in coverage, against some of those deeper route concepts, is always a concern. And when you see speed is not hard to find on film. Whether it's the quarterback, there's a reason he's able to get loose so often to make teams pay for it. That's a speed element of things. And so I see speed across the board in terms of the receiver room, getting behind guys in that. I think they're right around 250 yards passing the game, which is more than substantial, and then certainly get your antennas up, the ability to get explosives that way.
Offensively, you talked a little bit about the wide receivers just there. When you turn on the tape, what do you see out of the Cornhuskers this year offensively?
Yeah, just they put a lot of a conflict in defense. There's an option principle to a lot of the things that they do, but not all the things that they do. So it's not as if you can just circle that and say, okay, this is what we need to defend. Do a great job from a formation standpoint. And we bought some formations with our inability to react to some things week one. Which again, I got to get past that. But now it's you put it on film, and so that's something that you see from them, and that's something Coach Frost has done for a long time. Use the quarterback run, but again, it's not simply just quarterback run. A little bit in the RPO game, so they're going to keep you honest that way, and then explosiveness in some of the shots. Where you commit too much to the run game. They're able to get on top of you. So it has been a high efficiency and highly potent offense. Coach Frost, both in his time there and going through previous stops, they're good at what they do, and they challenge you in every way. And so this will be a major test.
All right, that's all the questions we have.
Okay. Thank you all.